Tanzanian Gold has been operating and functioning in Tanzania as an exploration company for quite a number of years. And it decided late in 2019 to see whether we could move from the from the exploration stage to the production stage. There really are, as Paulo has mentioned, several stages to our long-term plan. We're advancing this project, which is a fully permitted site, into production from near-surface oxides. Oxides are gold ore that have weathered. In this area where we are, they've weathered probably down to around 50 meters. And the gold that was previously in sulfide-bearing rocks, which are very hard, has turned into oxides, which are more friable, easier to mine, and contain quite a bit of high-grade gold. In the course of developing the oxide mining plan, we initiated a significant metallurgical program to test the viability of a standalone oxide plant. We've now had a plant operating, a test plant, successfully for a number of months. I will show you some details. And we're on the verge now of expanding the small plant by a capacity of 8 times larger. That would then give us in the range of 15 to 20,000 ounces of gold per year. And in parallel to that, we have been working on a final feasibility study. We have done a pre-feasibility study, but we're now working on a final feasibility study to build a new and separate sulfide treating plant that will have the capacity to produce around 150 to 175,000 ounces of gold per year. Going backwards. Here we are. It's much the same. We started out in 2014 with a modest 1.2 million ounces. We did a pre-feasibility study in 2018, which had some relatively attractive financials. We had a net present value at a 5% discount of 198 million with an IRR of 132%. The management felt that we wanted to find out if there was more and a larger project that could be developed. In 2019, we drilled the largest amount of drilling we've ever done, 60 holes for almost 18,000 meters, targeting both the oxide and sulfides. As a result of that, earlier this year, we announced a more than doubling of our measured and indicated resources to over 2 million ounces, plus exploration targets as permitted by 43-101 that have to upwards of another 4 million ounces. We then started the oxide plant to de-risk the project, and we're now looking to expand the oxide even further. This covers more or less the same as I've mentioned to you before. I'll skip over it, but I'll come back to the points that are here in my summary. You all know this curve. It's a well-known Pierre Lassonde curve of a junior company. We believe we've now done all the work for a major upgrade in our stock price and in our overall capital in the market and in our presence in Tanzania at Site A. There's a study done by Red Cloud looking at, actually it wasn't Red Cloud, it was one of our other advisors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, looking at separating the junior space of junior mining companies between low grade, high grade, high cost, and low cost. The chart in front of you is therefore divided into 4 boxes. The most attractive box is the lower right, which has high grade and low cost of production. You can see that a large chunk of the junior space sits, for example, in the upper left corner, which is high cost and low grade, and Buckreef is sitting right on the edge of the higher grade, lower cost producers. And as we will demonstrate to you, as we move through the oxides into the sulfides, we will be fairly centered in that box. Here's a kind of a price to net asset value. been done by our advisors. Again, it scans the universe of known and comparable gold companies. The average is 0.56. We're sitting right at that, which is appropriate for development, advanced development stage gold projects, and we are planning to be moving further up the curve, as some of our peers have done, that were in the same position we are a number of years ago. Touching on our capital structure, we have about 200 million basic shares outstanding. We have a few options around 10 million. That brings us to 210 million, fully diluted. The market cap, of course, varies. Our share price in US dollars has gone from 36 cents to $1.09, 55 cents to $1.49 Canadian. We have cash. We have easily convertible debt, and we're looking at an basic enterprise value in the range of 190 million Canadian, 150 million US. And shown below is kind of the trading range of our shares. You can see that once we came out of that 2019 with the higher resources and with our plans for production more firmly developed, the share price did perform quite well, and we are well away up the Lassonde value curve. Our management is seasoned management. Jim Sinclair, our chairman, has been involved in Tanzania for a very long time. He was previously chairman of Sutton Resources that sold Bulyanhulu, the largest gold mine in Tanzania, to Barrick. Jeffrey Duval is our acting CEO, an experienced general contractor with well over 25 years of experience. In my case, I've been kicking around the mining industry for, it says here, 30, probably more like 40 years of experience. I started out at Anglo American for 15 years, then joined Rio Algom and moved them into 3 new mines in South America. I ran Milpo's second largest zinc producer, and along the way, I helped to develop a few other projects, in total 5 mines. One of them, I was CEO of Clarion Resources in Peru, is currently under construction and is expected to come into production next year. Giancarlo is the director of operations in Africa. He's been in the African domain for well over 32 years and is a seasoned hand at understanding the sometimes vexing issues of dealing in the African continent. For those of you who are geologists, you know well that greenstones are one of the most favored geological environments hosting gold around the world. Northern Quebec and Northern Ontario, in greenstone terrain. So we know that terrain very well. Tanzania is blessed with 8 greenstone belts, of which our mine is situated in the most prolific. All of these are centered south of Lake Victoria. This is the belt that we are on. It's a well-known belt. To the east of us lies Bulyanhulu. Along the belt, we have several other well-known gold projects. Our license is what's called a special mining license. It's been permitted. We are good to go into production. We don't have to wait for permits. We don't have to wait for government approval. For the permits, we can start production at any time, and you can see our special mining license outlined in purple in the upper left corner of this diagram. Last year, we published this map as a result of our 2019 drill program, the largest drill program ever in our history, 18,000 meters, and then we, on top of that, had another 2,000 meters of grade control, so almost 20,000 meters. The red zone is the 0.4, a gram per ton cutoff for our resource model. The green faint line around it is the envelope for the Buck Reef Shear Zone. This is 1.2 kilometers long. If you start to the south of the Buck Reef head shaft and drive in the northeastern direction, for 1.2 kilometers, it is continuously mineralized by gold underneath your tires. The zone is still open to the northeast and down dip. Here is a snapshot of our growth in our resource base, fixing you in the upper left corner to December 2011, when we were just over 1 million ounces, and then to June 2020, middle of this year, where we are now well over 2 million ounces. The bulk of it, by the way, is measured. Some of it is indicated. We also have an inferred resource of another 600,000 ounces, 635,000 ounces, and then shown below are some of the targets that you are allowed to put into a 43-101 report, which are not quite yet at the resource stage, but have sufficient indication of possible extension to mineralization. Here you see the classic landscape on our property. The dark red is a soil. It's weathered soil. We have two prominent seasons, one very dry, one very wet. As a result, you get that classic red clayey material. Showing through in the orange is the beginning of the oxide zone. We started pre-stripping in April. Initial production was in May, and we've now been running on a steady state program in our plant for quite a number of months. Here is the outline of the oxide pit, the upper corner. Below, it shows where it's sitting in the overall pit. It's about 500 meters long. It goes down about 80 meters in depth. Grades vary from anywhere from 3 gram or more. In some places, we have actually quite high grade, in excess of 10 gram per ton. And this pit has been opened up and has been providing a steady flow of ore to a stockpile that has been going into the plant. We blend the ore from the oxide pit to try and maintain a steady state operation. And here is a first in the history of our company, the first gold bar ever poured in the middle of the picture. That was 70 ounces of 92% gold. Up above is our plant. Behind it, you can see the tailings facility flowing through. We have a large crusher. We have a ball mill circuit. And then we have tanks, 7 elution tanks, and then 7 tanks in which the actual release of the gold in the solution takes place. And then we have an elution room at the back where the gold is poured. Shown below is a schematic of the 40-ton plant that will be put on the site in parallel with the smaller one. We have started to build a larger tailings facility. We have done quite a number of tests on the flow sheet. These tests have given us solid data on what the flow sheet for the larger plant should be like, and we are currently reading government approval to expand production. Our gold pour is now about every 14 or 15 days. The plant runs day and night, 24 hours a day, under the lights at night. We have 2 shifts, and we have been able to train a good crew, which will be an enormous asset once we switch to the larger plant. Looking at ahead of what we're doing on our feasibility study, we've run a pit shell. For those of you who are familiar with optimization, rationalization, and pit shells, we selected pit shell 75. From that, we developed a preliminary pit that goes down up to 500 meters from surface. We have then taken that and run it through a geotechnical study to get us our geotechnical slope and bench angles. This has come to us from an outside advisor. We are currently have tendered for an outside advisor to collect representative operating and other costs for Tanzania for plants of this size, which we were using in the final optimization study. In this pit, we drilled 3 large metallurgical test holes. That material has been sent to SGS Lakefield in Ontario, probably Canada's premier metallurgical testing facility for the confirmation and design of gold plants. Lakefield is down to two low-cost gravity CIL flow sheets, one with and one without a possible flotation. And we expect to have the results of that work from SGS Lakefield in the very near future. Once we have that result and we know how big our pit is, we will be doing some cost-benefit analysis to see what is the optimum plant size that can get the maximum amount of gold out of the pit. And then we will start the feasibility study by costing out the size of the plant and the cost for the final pit. So really, the feasibility study here is being driven by what can the pit produce, matching that production to an optimum plant size, and then building the rest of the feasibility study around that. This will be about the 8th feasibility study that I've had the pleasure to oversee in the course of my 40 years. On top of that, we have an active exploration program. We are drilling on surface to look for oxide resources. We're looking in the northeast to test the extension, and we're looking to upgrade our resources from inferred to measured. And along the way, we intend to punch some holes very deep down to see how far we can continue to follow the gold down dip. So here we are. We have pretty well summarized the two plants that we have. One of oxide going to about 15 or 20,000 ounces. The sulfide plant coming out of Lakefield with a low-cost flow sheet based on testing, matching the two, the pit and the plant, and then proceeding forward. In the final area, we don't want to overlook environment, social, and governance. We have a very solid low-carbon footprint in our area. All sites have been certified by the International Cyanide Management Code. We have strengthened our local relationships. We provide water to local villages. We have given land to artisanal miners to produce gold. 100% of our workforce is Tanzanian, and we have supported a number of small sustainability projects like installation of maize mills and others. And as I've pointed out to you, our board of directors is a seasoned team with experience both in Africa and bringing a mine to production. Finally, we've got over 2 million ounces measured and indicated with upside on exploration. We're well on the way to expanding our oxide production with promising results, and the feasibility will be built around a large open pit and the flow sheet designed by Lakefield. Stay tuned.
Uli, thank you very much. We have can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So we have about 1 minute left. There's 51 people listening to the presentation. We've got like 16 questions here, but we only have time for one of them.
Oh my goodness. Sorry.
Yeah, so first one here, how long does it typically take to get approval for a scale up of the oxide plant, and what are the the milestones that they should be expecting?
We expect the approval process generally to take around 3 to 4 months. One of the reasons has been that the government has introduced a new protocol for testing tailing site facilities. There have been a number of, misadventures by other mining companies with tailing sites. In Tanzania, the new protocol is now in place. For example, we've had a government-certified testing laboratory team on our site for over 10 days, just testing the new tailings facility. And so that's really been the area that has taken a bit longer. But these things do happen, and we are not concerned at this particular time.